This is Volkswagen's contender for the hotly contested sub-4-meter sedan category, the Ameo. And it may have come a little late to the party, but it's made quite a splash thanks to the pricing that's been announced. And while the expectations are quite high, we're going to spend the day with the Ameo today to see where it slots in to this space.
First, the facts. The Ameo is based on the Polo and it's quite apparent from the front, but there are subtle differences. The front bumper has these creases at the corners to give it a more muscular look, and that's not all.
What helped the designers improve the overall proportions and the look of the Ameo was the fact that they were allowed to shave off 35mm off the front bumper, and that could then be added in terms of overall length at the back.
Sitting on those 15-inch alloy wheels, the Ameo looks solid and crisp, but overall proportions are still a bit awkward. The wheelbase is unchanged from the Polo, and up to the C-pillar, all the panels are the same, except for the roof, which tapers down a little bit to help flow the lines neatly into the boot. And the boot itself sports a prominent lip to give a greater sense of length. Then there are layers and sharp creases to shave off visual weight of the stubby boot.
Now when you open the boot, you'll notice a couple of things. One is that the boot opening is large, so you can get big pieces of luggage in there quite easily. And at 330 liters, the boot space itself isn't the largest in this class, but the shape of the boot will help you store larger pieces of luggage.
The Ameo also offers the option of flipping down the second row to expand storage, although you'll notice quite quickly that the seats don't fold all the way down.
But another thing that you may not notice right away is something over here. There's been a little bit of cost cutting. There is no covering panel here for the boot lid on the inside, and that little bit of cost saved here has been added in as a benefit elsewhere.
Which is in here. As you can see on this top-of-the-line Highline variant, the cabin is quite impressive. It looks quite rich with the glossy black panels, the brushed aluminium inserts and the chrome trim.
Now the cabin design of the Ameo isn't something new we've seen for years on Volkswagens, but where it still impresses is in the sense of fit, finish and quality. It feels solid and it looks classy. The Ameo is also making a statement. It's coming with dual airbags and ABS as standard across all three variants, and that aside, a feature that I really appreciate is this. It's got a tilt and telescopic steering, and other features that other people might appreciate are things like this armrest for the driver with a little bit of storage. There's a touchscreen system here that also has reversing camera, automatic climate control, and there are a lot more features.
The Ameo has also borrowed features from its elder sibling, the Vento, such as rain-sensing wipers and cruise control, auto-dimming rearview mirrors, and power windows with one-touch operation, front and rear. And the backseat occupants are sure to appreciate the rear aircon vents.
Now Volkswagen say they don't expect people to spend too much time in the back seat of the Ameo, and well, the space isn't really all that great. You can see little touches like the scooped out back for the front seats, which helps liberate a bit more knee room. Even then it's just about adequate, I would say, and sitting three abreast would be a bit tight.
So the place to spend time is in the front seat. So what's driving us today?
For now, the Ameo is available only with the petrol engine. This is the 1.2-litre engine we've seen on the Polo before.
Yes, this is the 3-cylinder engine that makes 74 horsepower and 110 Newton meters of torque. Both these figures are identical to the Polo.
Because the Ameo weighs only about 10 kilograms more than the Polo, the engine didn't have to be revised to do duty in this car.
So the gearing is also the same. All the controls, like the chunky gear shift, the light travel clutch, and the light steering, all feel the same. So in effect, the Ameo is a very familiar car to drive.
The thing about this engine is it's more than happy to amble around, so just crawling and keeping pace with city traffic, no problem. But when you just push that little bit harder on the gas, ask for that bit more, it does feel a bit loud. To really change the pace, you have to build the revs, and even then, it isn't particularly quick. Also, when the revs climb, the 3-cylinder thrum becomes quite apparent in the cabin.
Honestly, we can't wait for Diwali to come by, because that's when the Ameo will get the 1.5-litre 4-cylinder diesel engine, and it is anticipated to be in the 110 horsepower state of tune and will be offered with the 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox as well. Now back to the Ameo and its suspension, which, as with the Polo, gets McPherson struts at the front and a twist beam at the rear, the setup of which doesn't seem to have been changed either. And this means...
The suspension setup, it's on the softer side for greater comfort, and while that's great at low speeds, at higher speeds you will feel a little bit of a nod from the car.
If you push too hard, the Ameo will feel loose on its soft suspension and slip into understeer. It isn't a car that asks to be driven flat out, but driven at a fast yet reasonable pace, the Ameo has enough grip and composure to make most journeys safe and enjoyable. And you can be sure that the Ameo's pricing will tempt you to take a closer look.
Now, Volkswagen's new Ameo, it really isn't all that new in terms of the driving experience, and no surprises there. After all, it is based on the Volkswagen Polo. It rides the same way, it drives the same way, and with the 1.2-litre engine ambling around in the city, it's just about adequate. Not the strongest motor from Volkswagen. And well, it is one of the disappointments in the sub-4-meter sedan package. The other one is the back seat. It really isn't all that spacious. So if you're expecting to use this as a sedan and lounge around in the back in the city, I would suggest you look elsewhere. But if that isn't your intended use, look at the entire package that Volkswagen is offering here in terms of the solid build quality, the classy interiors, the great equipment list, and a really strong price tag. And you end up looking at a compact sedan that does make a lot of sense. In fact, when was the last time you looked at a Volkswagen and thought, hey, this is priced really well and this is really good value? Well, with the Ameo, Volkswagen have done it.